Greetings, I'm the Bromance Hallowe'en, and today we'll be embarking on a narrative adventure. How's everyone doing? Ba 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 ba. Glad to hear me, number one. Alright, so the way this is going to work is you'll be controlling an investigative journalist. Alright. Second. As they embark on following up a story. So if you're big significant moments, I'll try and post a poll in chat if there's enough people. But for the rest of it, just kind of like ask a question and I'll kind of go off the vibe of the chat. Okay. Bum 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 bum. Hello, minion number 2. How are you? Good, I suppose. Bum bum ba da bum. Okay. Glad to hear it. Bum bum ba da bum. Alright, so this is a test. It's a bit experimental, so we'll see how it works. Might go well, might go bad. We'll see. Alright. So just make sure yourself on my side. I do believe so. Yep. Okay, so shall we begin? What do people think? I think we should. Everyone agree? Practice. Yep, there we go. The live chat is yes. Good. Alright, so let's begin. Okay. How's that sound? Bum bum bum. Everything sound okay? You. Alright. So you awaken to the sound of the phone ringing in your apartment. Your apartment's run down. Yeah. Run down with paper peeling from the walls. Dark like the rest of this city. You're lucky enough to be next to a tree at least. At least there's something to gaze out at beyond just all the windows of the tall apartment buildings. You're hoping it'll be the newspaper editor with a chance of a story which will get you some money and get your name out there, a chance to succeed in the city. Yeah, but yes, minion, you are relatively poor. Okay. But the phone's still ringing. You pick it up.
Where are you? I told you to be down here already.
It's your boss. Needless to say, he's not happy. You remember, you promised you'd be there at the newspaper offices an hour ago. You'd get going. How's everyone find it so far? Is that okay? Anything you prefer? Any changes? Because now's the time to make them, because otherwise we're getting full on into this. Alright, glad to hear it. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so newspaper offices we go. Bum bum bum. Which one is it? Okay, 1 second. One thing I forgot to do. Bum 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 bum. All right, so you're the offices. You reach the newspaper offices, which are in a slightly better state than your apartment itself, like the rest of this city. You're here to meet your boss. Here he is. Okay, so I told you to be here an hour ago. You apologise profusely to him. What? It's a representation. Get me to 500 subscribers and membership, or donate money to me and stuff, and then we can have people with bodies. Bodies cost extra. Okay. You don't need body to get the image idea of someone. Alright, so. To avoid your boss sends you an assignment. To your dismay, it's nothing exciting. It's simply a matter of investigating a story about how the church of the area, the local religion which everyone in the city follows, the Cathedral of the Eternal Saviour, about how they're donating food to the poor and homeless. This type of story finds itself in the news cycle every few months when there's a slow news story, or just to push the church's agenda further. So, with the story, and your orders given, you head out. Where will you go to? You gonna head out? So where are you? What's the plan? Where are we gonna go to you up on this story? This is just testing to see if like people can be sensible like this, or whether I have to guide how hands-on I have to guide it. What do people think? Food place. Okay. It's a food place. By food place, do you mean a food place for us to eat? Or a food place related to the cathedral? Or something else like that? Okay. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Somewhere for us to get food, or somewhere to follow up on the story. I never know with you. I'm presuming it's to follow up on the news story. Follow up on the story. Okay. Bum 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 bum. Well, okay. So, yeah, check in the offices of the newspaper, and you'll learn that the church uses a warehouse to distribute the food from. So you follow up on it and head there. Bum bum bum. You walk through the smoky streets. You know, dark streets and stuff, but you know your way. Bum 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 bum. The masked, well, let's show. You know, streets with the ubiquitous guards stationed every so often. Discouraging any chance of crime that otherwise would be very possible to commit in these dark streets. Your footsteps echoing down the cobblestone as you head towards the warehouse. As you arrive at the warehouse, you see the doors are already open. And homeless and poor are gathered out the front of it. There's food's handed out to them. What should you do? Oh. Going for the food yourself then? Okay, so you've joined the queue of the hundreds of homeless bodies who are forced to sleep in this decrepit city out on the streets. Your apartment may not be much, at least it's somewhere to sleep, somewhere that's relatively dry and with less rats than out here. The crowd slowly thins out as people are fed. No one wants to take more than their share. The threat of the guards standing nearby, vigilantly watching over. Bum 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 bum. As you get closer, you see a robed priest, handing out food silently to the poor and homeless. Yeah. You wait your turn as the few remaining homeless people take their food. Then you go join the queue with your hands out. So, the priest wordlessly hands over a small bag and nods, turning his masked face side to side to ensure that no one's left before he returns to the warehouse and the doors close. Guards following behind him. What now? You ponder your next choice as you unwrap the food and eat the morsels within the bag. Not the best bread you ever had, but it's something at least. And it calms the gnawing emptiness of your stomach. Your mindset decide to head to the cathedral itself. Where else to get some quick answers and make this story write itself. You reach the cathedral. Enter its open doors. Passing down the corridors as you approach priests and they point you onwards. A word not spoken between any of them. Find yourself walking down labyrinthine corridors and hallways, walking what must be half an hour. Where you find yourself. 1 second. You find yourself in front of another priest. 1 second. There we go. That's the priest. What now? Now you have a priest to interview. That means I'm a bit loud. How's that? Oh, what you can do now? approach the priest and say, "Hey, dude." Come on. Anyone else have any ideas? I don't think you want to try and fight some fight. Alright. Being silly, I'll just carry on. You approach the priest and ask him of the ask him of the food dispersal amongst the homeless. And he replies,
"It is the duty of all to feed those who may not feed themselves."
His words are reassuring and calming, soothing even. Yeah. As this universal truth, lies in front of you from the priest's words. His the interview seemingly over as the priest backs away, pointing the way he came as he retreats back further into the church. Bum 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 bum. What now? Come on. Your legs will take you, okay. You walk out the church, the story already pulling itself together in your head. It was not going to be anything special, but you know, but you can feel the truth of the piece about how this church, Cathedral of the Eternal Saviour, cares for those who can't feed themselves. It's a duty. Save everyone from that which would take them otherwise. You try and retrace your steps back out the cathedral. Footsteps echoing in cold, empty hallways against ancient stone. Whenever you seem to making a dead going the wrong way, a priest appears as if from nowhere, point you on your way so helpfully. Find yourself back outside in the cold city streets. Oh. Consider your situation. You've had your stomach now full from the food the priest gave you. Kernel of the story, including a rare quote from a priest. While you know this news story will logically be little more than filler between whatever other news of the day, at least it'll get definitely be sure it will be in the paper, earning you a commission at least. The rates of the paper ensure there'll be enough at least to pay rent for another week. Even if you can't improve your current standard of living much more, at least you might attain it, which is better than some others could say. Bum 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 bum. Pass by alleyways as you walk back towards your house. Your apartment. Eager to write the story and hand it in. You can hear some moans coming from an alleyway, not far from the church. You carry on walking or approach the moans. Alright, give me just a second. Alright. Turning into the alleyway. There we go. You turn and find yourself in the alleyway. Laying against a wall is a homeless man. Muttering to himself. Pulls newspapers around himself. Trying to keep himself warm. Muttering to himself. Strange words. And almost inaudibly. In front of him on the ground, smashed against the stone, is a paper bag with bread inside. Identical to the bag you were given at the warehouse. Rats are already approaching from the shadows to feast upon it. As the shivering man rambles further, what do you do? Bum bum bum. You walk closer to the man. Even as you get closer and closer to hear his words, the gibberish that he speaks can't be interpreted. It's as if the words themselves just glide past your ears and bounce off. What now? You stand there, trying hard to listen, as the incomprehensible words of the man, you know, you can do. Rambles on. You approach him, a sheet of paper from your notepad in your hand, and hand it to him, asking him to write it down. The man startles, as if he didn't even realise you were there, and points at you. "You're one of them!" he cries. "You're one of them!" His words comprehensible, though the odd words slipping off here and there. As it after that statement, he says something else. Incomprehensible. You eat the bread, he says. You'll eat the bread. Words in between. Just inaudible to your ears. More silence. As you point out that, you know, free food in a city where food is hard to come by. Yes. You know better than them rats! The rats! Yes, pointing to the smashed in bread. And the now almost gone rats fight over themselves to rip crumbs off it and run off with the hard gotten spoils. What now? He continues his rambling, seemingly ignoring your presence. As the only few words here and there about eating the bread and rats now audible to your ears. The rest of the gibberish are too quiet for you to hear. Keep going back home. Alright. You walk back out the alleyway, back towards the street. Putting it behind you as you decide to walk back home. The man still occasionally shouting, raising his voice. You hear bread and rats in between all the quiet mumblings. As you carry on walking past, you hear footsteps behind you and notice a guard walking into the alleyway. None of your business, you think, as you carry on walking back home, leaving the madman in the alleyway behind you. Return to your apartment, walking up the rotting stairs, ending up in your small, tiny room. You approach the typewriter you have set up in the corner. Begin writing your story. Write the quote from the priest. Find a clever reference in the scripture. But what else do you write in the text? Oh. Bum 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 bum. Ba da ba 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 ba. Oh. Bum bum bum. Bum bum ba bum. Alright, you finish off the piece, keeping it simple and light, basing most of the work around most of the article around the quote you obtained from the priest. Pointing out the regularity of these food handouts. Every day, once a day, every week, every month, every year. not a day goes by when the priests don't hand out the free bread at the warehouse. Or the homeless and those who can't afford food themselves. Bum bum bum. Your work done, you decide to turn in for the night, resolving to hand the article to the your editor tomorrow. Bum 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 bum. Okay. You awaken. You awaken to the sound of the your alarm. Early in the morning. Not yet light out. But this is a perfect time to leave to the newspaper. You can hand in the article and ensure it reaches today's paper. Then down the rotting stairs of the apartment building you live in. Out onto the street. Did I put... Okay. Bum bum bum. It's still dark. You make your way to the offices. Your article already in your bag as you walk. Small breakfast. More bread. Saved from yesterday as you make your walk there. Streets are quieter at this time of day. No one here except the guards and other people whose professions start in the early mornings. You're grateful to the guards for how safe they keep the city, how free of crime. You hear rumours. You reminisce. You walk to the newspaper offices. You hear rumours of other cities. How savage and barbaric the world is outside the city. Of how other cities are crime-riddled. Where walking this early in the morning will ensure you'll be robbed of everything you own, be it valuable or not. You even remember reading one story last week of how someone from your city went going to visit another city for business. Their own arm was stolen from them. Continue on, grateful you live in such a safe city. Made safe by the guards and the church. You arrive at the newspaper offices in no time at all. Handing over your work to the boss. Who looks it carefully before nodding. I can print this, he says. Returning back into his office. Returns back out with the pay slip, handing it over. Where he nods at you. What you can do? You ask him for another, something more, another story to write. Investigate. You could propose something of your own to write about, or you could try not to push your luck and just go and buy and cash your check. All right. Bum ba dum bum bum. Bum ba dum bum. You walk down the steps of the offices, pausing only to hand in the slip the secretary there will file it and make sure the payment arrives in your account. Walk back out into the streets. Still dark. Still quiet. The only sound you hear around you is the echoing of your own feet on the cobbles. You know within a few hours, as the small window of light will reach down from the tall buildings, that many more will flock to the streets, visit the markets. The few entertainment houses that still exist, they open. As you make your way back to the apartment, you find yourself walking past the alleyway that you took a detour down the night before. The man for last night isn't there. Isn't there. Newspapers remain in the spot he was. No sign of him, the guard who went down it, or the rats. You take a look. Will your curiosity get the better of you, or you head back to your apartment? Okay. Turn down the alleyway. Taking a look. The paper bag, still torn and smashed, lays there, but not a hint of the bread remains. All taken by rats, most likely. Along with any other food stuff left in the alleyway. This is always the case. At least the rats keep the city clean this way. Even if it does mean that they fed well, relatively. While the rats are many, at least they're not as bad as they are in other cities. You've heard rumours that rats in other cities will even eat people. But the church through other charitable endeavours, manages to keep the rats relatively in check. Relatively harmless. By this point, you've approached the newspaper bedding of the rambling madman from the day before. Easy to make out now amongst the smog of the city. There's no sign of the man left in the bedding. Suppose he'll be moved along by a guard. Find a spot that's less bothersome. Or maybe even to a homeless house. Or somewhere for him to spend the night. Out from the cold of the streets. Gaze down upon the newspapers. And notice the notepad. The piece of paper from the notepad left there, scrumpled up, shoved under one of the newspapers. Get out. What, are you going to pick it up or leave it? You pick it up, unfolding it, and scrawled there on the page is a single word: sanity. You chuckle to yourself at the irony of a man who's so clearly lacking it, writing down this word and hiding it as if it's so important. Turn to your apartment. comfortable in the fact you'll be able to pay your wages for the... Your wages will have paid your rent for the week. What you can do with the rest of your day. Bum ba da bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. What's your plan for the rest of your day? Till early in the morning. Wander. Okay. You wander through the cold streets as it approaches midday. You pause as for 1 minute from the crack-like gap between the buildings, way above you, sunlight. It casts down, casts down a ray of light, passing over the street below and back upside from the building before he's gone. We're grateful to have seen the light on this day. Unfortunate aspects of your profession, you're most active at night and don't get to see such a beautiful sight. Dinner wandering on. Consider picking up some more food. Picking up some food. A wise choice. You'll have just enough left for some of it after the rent's gone out. Wandering through the markets, you pick up bits of food here and there. And there. Cheap as possible. Just enough for a meal a day. Bum ba da bum. Alright. As you hang on 1 second. As you finish off at the market, go to walk back to your apartment with your bounty in hand. You hear footsteps running full speed down the street ahead of you, and from the smoke is the man from the day before, the homeless man. Ah! He shouts as he runs, feet pounding on the cobbles, screaming. As if it's the only sound he could make. Heavier footsteps sound from behind him as he passes you by. And from the smoke you see the uniform of the guards. There's 5 of them. Creep after him. Anything you want to do? Approach him to speak. He pushes you down. He pushes you out of the way. As the guards obviously march after him. You know, he screams in your face, "Sanity!" and carries on. As you see more guards approach from the intersection, surrounding him and dragging him away. You're left alone on this street. Disturbing sight in front of your mind as you wander back to your apartment. You put away. Alright. You walk up the rotten stairs of your apartment, passing by no one in the hall as you end up back in your small room, putting your food away. Oh, glad to be in from the fog and the smoke, somewhere warm, away from the cold. Your own little pocket of space, safety in the city. Feel tired, and yeah, you feel tired and you go to sleep. Passing by the days in this city. You awake with a headache. But a headache and even glass of water doesn't shift it. You resign yourself to suffering with it for the rest of the day and carry on. What's your plan for the day? You go and try and beg for to write an article in the newspaper, hopes to for more wages. Stay at home, try and investigate something, try and bring an article to the newspaper editor. I feel that initiative would be worth more. You did see an interesting spectacle yesterday with the man being dragged away by the guards. Investigate article or go and ask for one? Ask for one. Okay. Bum bum bum. You pass down your stairs and head to the newspaper. You approach boss's secretary, asking asking for a meeting, but she says he's busy all day. Busy all day and out of the office. At a party with some friends. Defeated, you walk back out of the office. Head back along the streets. Where is it? There. You walk through the foggy streets. Still dark. As the smoke seems to curl around you, clinging onto you as you walk past. The guards, ever present as always. You know that the only way you might be able to get an article in, the way the boss's moods are, especially after one of his parties where he'll be gone for the next few days, most likely. The only way to get an article would be to write your own and present it to him. It's risky, but the worst he can do is refuse it. What's your choice? As you're considering your choices, your hand does reach into your pocket. In fact, you find that piece of paper that the homeless man left in his bedding. It does give you an idea to write a story about it, investigate it further. Is it worth it? That's your choice. Will anyone have any interest in the rambling of a madman? You decide to investigate. You know where you're going to start your investigation? The only thing you have to go on is a man being dragged away by the guards. A crumpled up piece of paper with the word Sanity written on it. Any idea where to start? Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Oh. Any ideas? Where to go? Can't investigate, but how are you going to investigate it? Bum ba dum bum bum. Alright. Oh, I was going to give you help. You remember the warehouse? And how the man was so opposed to the bread? Surely, you know, that could be a place to start. After all, is either that, investigate, going speaking to the guards, or going back to the alleyway where he slept. Those three choices in mind, you head out to. What's your destination going to be? The alleyway. Alright. You find yourself back in the alley. Smoke, thick, flying as you walk down it. As you reach the spot where the man rested, you notice that the newspapers have been cleared away. As if no trace of the man has been left. Even the paper from the wrapping of the bread is gone. Looking closer, you notice blood on one of the walls. Close to the ground. Dry-ish. You can tell it's been there for a day or so. You suppose you might have noticed it last time you were here, as if because it would have been underneath the newspaper. You look further around the alleyway. But beyond the rats skittering under a dumpster, we found. What now? Investigate the blood further. Only lead in this area, or go somewhere else. Bum bum bum. Okay, so you investigate the blood. Okay. So you bend down to peer at the blood spot. It looks as if someone had the head dashed against the wall from the how the blood is splattered. It's probably, thinking back, you're right, it's probably the guard. As you can see, small shred of newspaper, likely torn off the homeless man's hat, fashioned off the newspaper itself. Caught on the wall. The angle indicates the man was kicked. Probably still while sitting. He banged his head on the wall. Was it worth his rambling, you wonder? Yeah. Did it maybe should have known better? Draw the attention of the guards. Surely he must have said something or offended them to act with such violence. Or maybe he was a criminal. With these thoughts in mind, you turn and leave the alleyway, back onto the streets proper. With two destinations to choose from. The guard station. See if you need to speak to the madman or the guards themselves. Or the warehouse, where you notice the man. Where he'd obtained the bread from. He was so offended by. Where are you going to go to? Bum, bum, bum. Make a decision, I'll just... Instead of walking towards your destination through the smoky early morning streets of the city. Wondering is the violence that you are now aware has committed. The man must have escaped from being carried away. And must have been on the run all night. You wonder the strength of will that must take. The guards are seemingly endless. These disturbing thoughts sit in your head as you make your way to the destination, which is the warehouse or the guard station. When is it? Warehouse. Okay. You make your way to the warehouse. You seem to have just missed the food handouts. As it seems quiet with no one around. You try and knock on a door, or eventually you try and find a way to sneak in. What do you do? Sneak. Okay. So, creep around the side of the warehouse. Your suspicious movements covered by the smoke, the darkness. Once you're grateful for for such the environment, atmosphere of the city. You find a small door unsecured at the back of the warehouse. It seems to be if it might be locked. Although giving it a small push shows that it's likely not barred. Strong force or picking of the lock would surely allow you to get past this door. Which will you do? You pick the lock, try and force the door. You ram against the door in a burst of violence. The lock is forced out of its cradle. The door slams open, echoing into the warehouse. As you enter, hoping the sound didn't alert anyone. Find yourself in a large room. Piles of containers. Large wooden crates with dates written on them. You can see that the dates last throughout the week. 3 days that remain in the week. You see there's no one around. And that fortuitously, no one seems to have... Usually that means that no one will have noticed the noise you made. Pushing the door to behind you. With not a glance at the busted lock. You creep further into the warehouse. As you make a cursory glance, you can notice that the crate marked with today's date has already been emptied. Taking the time into consideration, you realise that a few hours have passed since the handouts of the bread. What now? Bom, bom. Okay. Ba-dum. What's the plan? Anything? Alright. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, you walk throughout the warehouse, looking throughout the crates. Glances and manifests show that the bread, the rest of the crates house bread that will be handed out for over the next 3 days. Inside the crates, when you manage to lift the lid on one of them, look inside, see the rows and stacks of wax paper, each containing a loaf of bread. What else are you gonna look at? What else you can do in this warehouse? Oh. Anything? Any plans? Alright. You walk further into the warehouse, keeping the word sanity in mind, but so far you can't see anything relating to it. Seems that nothing is in this section of the warehouse. It's a large room full with trays. There's nothing related to it in here. It seems that this is simply an area to distribute the bread. But you can see a door leading deeper into the warehouse. You head further, or head somewhere else. Further. You walk further into the warehouse, past the door. Passing through the quiet warehouse, you notice that many rooms are empty and decrepit, left lifeless, but for the large room you've passed through so far. Although, as you reach further into the warehouse, you notice that one door seems to be secured, unlike the rest of them. A door that seems with a much more expensive lock upon it. You know this door can't merely be forced down. It would open only with a key or an exceptional way of exceptional attempt at lockpicking it. The only way all the way past this door would be to find another way around it. You can see from the crack below it. Yep, the hinges are on the other side of the door. Hinges are on the other side. It's quite clear that they've taken every attempt to make sure this door is solid. You can see a slip of light from below the door, matching the light from outside. Not enough to imply this door leads to outside, but just enough light to imply there's a window inside the room, even if it may not be very large. Can't see any other way into the room from this floor of the warehouse. So, you know, the only ways you can progress are above, below, or attempt to get beyond this door. Outside, okay. You walk back outside the warehouse and see, retracing your steps through the broken door with a broken lock, to find the other side of your door. The windows are relatively high up. There are some bins nearby that you might be able to move, try and climb up and peek through. Do you do so? Or have you got another plan? Okay. You maneuver the bins into place. Climbing up on top of them to peek through the window. You notice that the room has a raised floor, indicating staircase you can see going down a short amount from the window. And you can see the other side of the door. You can see that not only is there the other side of the lock, but you can see that this side of the door is barred. On the floor, in the corner of the room, you see what appears to be some kind of staircase. leading down. Running your hands along the windows seem to be secured in place, although one of them seems to be secured in place and closed, though one of them seems rather loose. You're still outside, remember? The pane within its frame seems rather loose. You can try and remove the window pane then? Push. Okay, so you push pane. And with enough force, the glass smashes against the floor inside as you crawl through the window. The now empty frame. And you walk closer to the corner and notice the stairs. Stone stairs hewn into the foundation of the building. Warehouse reach down far below. A draft of coldness reaching up. You place one foot on the step and then the other, heading down into the darkness. Anything else? Or just carrying heading down the stairs and onwards? Down. You head further and further down. Dark down here. Very dark. You have your hand against the wall to ensure you can carry onwards. As the stairs flatten out into underground chamber. Oh, keeping your hand on the wall, you walk forward into the darkness. Walking and walking, keeping your footsteps light as to not draw attention to anyone who may be lurking in the dark. It feels like you've been walking for ages. For hours on end. You know this isn't true. As you slowly creep forward, slow and quietly as possible to avoid notice. You step forward. Okay, sorry. And notice quiet sound. Sound of sobbing. Coming from somewhere up ahead. What do you do? Creep further into the dark, you can feel a split in the passageway. Going left will bring you closer to the sobbing. Going right will take you away from it. So presuming you choose to approach, okay. You creep towards the sobbing. Closer and closer and closer. Until you reach a barred door. Set into a set of iron bars. Through this rudimentary cell, you see a man sitting there. Ba 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 ba. As the darkness clears, you notice it's the homeless man. Earlier, sitting there in the darkness, sobbing. Hello, say gently to him. It's you. Yes. It is me. You acknowledge. I'm sorry, he says. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What do you mean, you question? I'm sorry for what I did. He used it as response, wondering what possibly would have led him to apologise to you in particular. Bum, bum, bum. What line of questioning are you going with? What did you do? Someone had to know! Someone! I knew it was too late for me, but I thought someone else had to know. I'm so sorry. His weeping aggravates your headache, but you push through it. Still confused as to what he's saying. What did you do? You ask him firmly. I had to make sure that there was someone else, he says. I had to. And when I saw the paper, and I saw the heading on the paper and the notebook, I knew you're a journalist. I thought you might be able to tell someone. I thought you might be able to get someone, make them know. What, this, you say? As you unfold the paper, the notepad page with the word sanity on it. What does it mean? It's all around us, he says. Sanity is what they use. It's what they're using. Hear footsteps behind you in the tunnel. You could risk it to ask him more questions, or you could dart back into the darkness at the safe. What do you do? The darkness, or our answers? Which one do you want? Back into safety of the dark, or risk yourself, risk discovery? Ask a few more questions. Yeah, the footsteps follow him. You skitter back into the darkness, back slowly where you came. Find your way to an alcove. He says, "Ah!" You hear him sobbing, as you can hear footsteps coming closer and closer and closer. They're echoing, throwing off your sense of direction. You push yourself further back into the alcove, determined not to be discovered. Breathing, taking a deep breath, you hold yours, then hold it as the steps come closer, reaching in front of the cell. You can hear the door opening and a man being dragged away. This close, you can tell there are multiple footsteps, a ruffling of fabric. As you can hear his moans, laments, as he's dragged further and further back into the darkness, further along the tunnel. What now? you're unsettled. You know your two choices. Follow on the heels of the abducted homeless man, or return up through the warehouse. Try and return into the city and approach someone about this man's disappearance. You choose. Back up to the safety of the warehouse and out. Or surely you could rally someone about the corruption of the guard. You maybe write an article about it, or you could follow the man who is dragged away, and the sobbing slowly gets quieter and quieter. You're not sure if leaving him to the mercy of whoever has him, even the guards, will be that safe for him. Follow. Okay. You're pulling the tunnel behind them. Be sure to stay out of sight from the torches they carry. Can't see much. The light's still dim, but it's just enough to silhouette them. And far back as you are, you can just see the rough shapes. You walk further and further as you find yourself at another set of stairs, much like the ones you arrived in, also hewn into the rock. As you see the man dragged. He's dragged up the steps. Creep up them behind them. Being sure to make as little sound as possible. At a safe distance. Bum bum bum. You find yourself in labyrinthine, dark network of corridors, hallways, and rooms. You're only aware of the environment by your hands on the wall, feeling the architecture. Creep closer along. Your nerves are getting to you. You lose sight of the kidnapped man being dragged away. The light disappears around the corner. You attempt to follow, but know that if you speed up, you might be heard. You could keep it slow and try and keep it slow. Try and keep undetected. But that means you may lose the sight of the man. What are you gonna do? Speed. You speed up, walking faster, desperate to keep the man within your sight and the light he brings. And knowing that light will not only illuminate answers, illuminate the area around you, ensuring you don't get lost in this maze. Closer and closer and closer. Fast as you dare. Footsteps still relatively quiet, getting louder as you speed up to get closer to the light. You glimpse it pass around a corner ahead of you. Always seems to be a set distance ahead of you, but you feel yourself. Then, slowly, as you increase your speed even further, you see that the distance between you and the light is slowly decreasing. As they still pass forward, obviously slowed by the weight of the man they're dragging. Walk forward, closer and closer and closer. Find yourself amongst similar architecture. And you realise you're in the cathedral. Now, as the barest of light is illuminated, you notice that dragging the man are four palm figures in priest's garb, dragging him round the corner into a room with a thick door. The door's closed behind them. As you realise that now you're standing in one of the deepest areas of the cathedral. An area too deep for the public to be allowed. Where the priests allow no one to wander. What are you gonna do? Keep going. Alright. You creep close to the door and push it open slowly. Bum, bum, bum. Alright. Slowly push the door open. Creep into the room. Find yourself in dark back rooms. You can hear the man sobbing further along. You see that 4 priests have now dropped him to the floor. And gazing silently at each other. As the man seems to apologise again and again and again. No, no. Ba 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 ba. Ba da ba 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 ba. Sorry, I'm trying to organise them so that they can all be kind of seen. Remember how many there are. Then we also need the guy. The man's falls to his knees towards an altar. Ba 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 ba. And then, sobbing increasing, as one of the priests keeps him down with a hand on his shoulder. Clear that if the minute that without that force, he would be off and running as fast as possible, despite the head injury, the blood you can see on the back of his paper hat. But then, cutting through your headache, you hear one of the priests speak.
You will be saved.
And the priests start chanting. You'll be the same words over and over again. You will be saved. The words seem to leave an impression in your mind, cutting through your headache. The words sound no different to your ears than any of the times you heard priests speak. Something about them resonates differently now. You're unsure what. Creep closer around pillars, watching, trying to stay out of sight as the 4 priests chanting louder and louder.
You will be saved. You will be saved.
They chant until the man, as if in a fit, collapses, shaking, or going still. The priests nod to each other and turn to leave through the door behind them. As the man's body lies there still, what do you do? You stay in hiding until the priests leave the room and close the door behind them. You approach the body of the man. Notice that he's still breathing, but seems hollow somehow. There's no light in his eyes. He appears completely at everything seems absent about him. Bum 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 bum. What are you gonna do? Seems that there is he might have something on his body, but can you risk it? Surely they're not actually going to leave his body here. You know, surely they won't just leave his body here. Perhaps they've gone to fetch someone else, or maybe it is just left here for whatever reason. A strange ritual. In this conspiracy. You know, whatever you're going to do, you're long to make your choice. You investigate the hollow feeling body, or leave the room. Okay. You kneel down, picking the pockets of the homeless man. In one pocket, there is a syringe, empty, with a strange residue within it. In the other, you know, a torn ID card. All details blotted by damage, probably due to wetness. On every scrap of the paper, not damaged by moisture, there's scribbles about sanity, bread, smoke. Blasphemous lines about how the priests are the shepherds of the flock, and how the guards are the sheepdogs. What are you going to do now? Okay. Stand up to leave. And creep out of the door. Find yourself back in the hallway of the cathedral. Well, you could try and leave through the cathedral itself, or try and find your way back to the staircase and back to the warehouse. Okay, so you're creeping through the cathedral. Creep through the cathedral. The suspense. You group closer to the more inhabited areas that are not off limit to the public. Managed to avoid all the priests so far. Every glint of movement, ducking into alcoves and rooms, empty rooms. You can slowly hear the sound of the organ that emanates through the public areas of the church. Seem to be able to make it through the cathedral unmolested. And sneak out into a congregation leaving the room. Seem to have made it out safely. Question is, what now? The only evidence you have is scrolls of a madman, but surely your testimony, you've been trustworthy, you've worked at the newspaper for years. Surely the editor will believe you, won't he? Or you can attempt to get more proof. How? Difficult choice. Surely lead you to wander back to the cathedral, or almost the newspaper. What are you gonna do? Bum bum bum. Okay. You hurry through the streets. Paranoid. Every guard you see. Each one of them would discover your knowledge of the conspiracy any second as you make your way to the newspaper building. Taking a few back alleys along the way, when it seems like there's too many guards on one street, you make your way there. Only to remember that your editor isn't at work. He's at the party. And from his past behaviour, you'll know he'll be away for a few more. He'll be at that party for a few more days. Can remember though that the parties he usually goes to are located at the home of one of the wealthiest men in the city, one of the friends of the newspaper owner. Do you dare go to the party, or are you gonna try and wait? Wait at the offices. Okay. You head to the offices. And tell the secretary that you need an urgent meeting as soon as possible. Yeah. Because if it's that urgent, I could just phone ahead, leave a message with him. You ponder this option. Because while it would get you to speak to him faster, it might raise an eyebrow here or there. But you know, if there's a good enough story, the editor will surely listen. What are you going to do? What does that mean? Can you spell that properly? Does that mean go away or what else? Wait. You're just waiting at the offices. Okay, so no. Okay. You just say, you laugh off and go, no, oh, it's not that important, I don't want to disturb him. As you wait around the offices, finding busy work, helping out a few people here and there. You will be back tomorrow, the secretary says, aware of the fact you've been there all day, just waiting, seemingly, on finding things to occupy yourself. If it's really that urgent, I can't just pass on a message to him. Or if you're just looking for busy work, you know, you could help go and help the handyman with the boiler. What are you gonna do? Right. Okay. So you head back into the you head further down the offices to help out the local handyman. And to fix it. You'll be very glad, because part of the reason why you've been avoiding the offices and writing the newspaper itself is due to how cold it gets with the heating out of commission. The handyman himself was a grizzled man. You heard he came from beyond the walls of the city. In fact, many of the rumours you heard, he'll consider them, laugh at them, pointing out some to be true and some to be false. You pass the time by making yourself of use to him, asking him any tool he needs, and being there just to answer yes or no to his stories and pay attention to him. He can tell you're somewhat on edge, but he leaves you be. Leaves you be. You know that tomorrow your boss will be here, or could go and try and catch the end of the party, or go to his house and try and talk to him at his house. Either that or going back home and waiting for tomorrow. Or there is the option of trying to pass along a message to someone else, so someone else knows. But can you risk someone else like that? I presume by house you mean boss's house. Okay. Are you gonna let anyone else know? I'll just go there. I'll go there without telling anyone. Okay. So what are you gonna tell him? What are you gonna tell him exactly? Everything in general, or just the gist of it? Sanity. Alright. What about sanity? What is sanity? That's the question. As you start speaking to the handyman after catching his attention. That's to utter words. Utter the words and tell him of what you've been up to the last few days. And try and tell him you just need to make it clear you need to tell someone about it. As you speak at him, his face just seems to be confused, as if he can't make out the words you're saying. Here and there he catches a few words, such as, bread and man. He passes in the paper, thrust it into his hand. The word sanity written on it in the homeless man's scrawl. He kind of looks confused about it, and just kind of like nods. But you're not sure if he actually means that sincerely, or was just trying to do anything to get away from you. Dejected, you leave the room. Leave the offices. Are you still going to head to the newspaper editor's house? Come on, you can do. Okay. The handyman scurries away from you, obviously shaken by you descend into gibberish or incomprehension. You head through the streets, favouring the back alleys, paranoid of every face you see, most of which are the guards, vigilant on every street corner. You arrive at the editor's house, knocking on the door, and are allowed in. Allowed in when you tell the doorman it's urgent. The boss approaches. Well, what are you doing here? I'm guessing it's urgent by how desperate you seem. It better be to call me this late at night. What are you gonna tell him? Okay. You try to tell him of the conspiracy you've unearthed, about the guards, about the cathedral, about the homeless man, dragged away, eaten, and whatever they did to him. But occasionally words make it through. It just seems confused. If you came here to try and tell me you made your own stupid language, I don't care. Get out! The noises attracted the attention of a guest. A rich woman who laughs at the novelty. And oh, an entertainer, you shouldn't have. This ain't an entertainer, this nuts used to be one of my employees. Seems to have lost his mind. You try and tell both of them, but the words that sound completely normal from your mouth, they don't seem to reach them. If there's something stopping them along the way. Doesn't seem to be able to get through to them. What are you gonna do? write it out. You rip your notepad from the paper and try and write it. You write it out. You write everything you can. Everything you can. As much of the story as possible as the doorman comes and tries to drag you away. You throw the notepad at them. You look at, and the editor looks at it incomprehensibly. Looking as if you've lost your mind. Like, I don't care about your squiggles and made up languages, he says. As he throws the notebook onto the floor. Get him out of here, he says, as you kicked outside of the house onto the street. Streets are cold, especially now. You don't know where to turn. It seems that no one can even understand you, let alone believe you. You wonder if this is how the homeless man felt. As you dart out through the alleyways, trying to avoid the sight of every guard you can see. What are you going to do? Where you can go for more evidence? That's the question. How can you find evidence that proves this to people? Where are you going to go? You don't know. Alright, so you skitter to the warehouse. Through the back streets and alleyways, avoiding every guard you see. Avoiding anyone you see. You've got to find proof. You've got to prove to them. Surely, like, this sanity is connected to bread. Find yourself to the warehouse. The door you broke in from still hasn't been fixed. Oh, wrong one. Searching around the warehouse, there's the crate still there, the bread for the next days. Bread for the next 3 days as before. Looking through each of them, you know, the large crates ready to be distributed to the poor, homeless and needy. You know there are more of these warehouses throughout the city. But now you wonder if, you know, if anything's been found inside of them, or just more and more bread. Where now? You rush through the rooms of the warehouse. As is before, all the rooms are empty. The door is still locked. But you know the window. You noticed on the way in the window is still broken. You try and get into the cathedral through the tunnel. You can try and find some other way of... Some other way? You know you need evidence. Desperately. What are you going to do? What's next? Next move. You search through the bread, tearing them out of the containers, looking at them. Can't tell the difference. This is it's the same bread that you've handed out for years. You wonder if this is how they do it. Is this bread stop people from hearing you, or was it when you injected? Were you injected to stop you from making sense? You don't know which way around it is. Like your headache is still there, but you're now aware of things and the voices and how the priests speak and how it's different to everything else and how it's normal. And how did you ever realize? Think that was a normal thing? You frantically, manically go through it. You know, when you throw the bread from the crates, trying to rustle through any scrap of evidence in the crates, but all there is just bread. You search through the rooms, and they're as empty as they were before. No indication this warehouse used for anything but distribution. The only way to continue on from here would be into Cathedral. Down the steps and through the dark. So you do so. The bin's still in position. You go outside, climb up and through the window, and descend down corner of the room, down the stairs, and into the darkness. Continue on through the tunnel, your hands along the wall, frantically stumbling at points and crawling your ways, but you make it through. You climb up the stairs and find yourself in the darkness of the cathedral, the back rooms of it, knowing you've got to find something to prove to someone what's been going on. You stalk the halls of the cathedral. Now you're inside, what are you going to do? Bum 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 bum. Come on, what's next? You search through the corridors and find yourself in the room. You've managed to find a way back to the room the man was left in. His body now absent. The altar seems no different to any other that you see within the cathedral. But in the corner of the room, you find a door leading to a very similar room. Inside this room are the robes and mask of a priest. There's a stone bed in the middle of the room. Quite clear that this is the quarters of a priest. What are you gonna do? You grab the robe and mask and disguise yourself. Passing out back into the cathedral properly. As you leave the room and find yourself back in the corridor, another priest beckons you over and points you along the way. You follow his direction. You step backwards as you turn and head your own direction. Priest tilts the head, turning and walking away in the direction he pointed. You walk through the cathedral, checking inside the rooms. Occasionally there are priests inside them, occasionally they're empty. Can't see anything gone there. As you walk, you notice. 1 second. You walk, you slowly notice smoke getting thicker and thicker within the cathedral itself. You quicken your pace, trying to outrun it. Quicker, but no matter where you are, it seems to just twist around you. Flying and grasping at you. What do you do? I want you to do. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Any idea? Keep going. You run through the cathedral, your footsteps echoing throughout the rooms as you pass them by, running through the corridors, but the smoke gets thicker and thicker and thicker. You find yourself surrounded by other priests, them looking straight towards you. You hear a voice, and as before, but you feel it as if it touches your.
You who defy the Savior.
You're encircled. Completely surrounded. Priests materialise as if they came from the smoke itself. And now they surround you in a circle. And as you stand, turning and looking for any chance of escape, more seem to materialise from the smoke itself. The smoke that you now realise is ever present through the city.
You who turned your back on the Savior. You will be saved. Face your fate.
Priest chant. The words echoing and combining in a sick chant. And you fear ending up the same as the homeless man. What you do? As they chant, you hear the organ playing louder and louder, echoing throughout the cathedral. You lurch forward to punch one of them. But he disperses as if he was smoke himself. You flail, trying to pass by them, kicking, screaming, punching, clawing, but they feel intangible, dispersing before your very fingers. What are these priests? What are these things that have been these things that have been in the city for years? What are these things that have been evidently been controlling the guards, controlling everything? And what is sanity? You turn and point. I know what you do when you say, I know what sanity is. Sanity is... What is sanity? What is sanity? Need to answer the question. Yeah, no, but what is the sanity they were talking about? What's the sanity the homeless man was talking about? What is it? Okay. The chanting gets louder and louder.
You will be saved. You will be saved.
Darkness consumes you. The world spirals away, leaving the smoke. Even the music, the thunderous music, fades into nothingness, leaving only you in the smoke. You feel something reaching towards you. What do? Do you reach back out towards it? Or try and hide from it? Hide. You try and coil and hide within yourself, wherever this is, within the smoke. We feel a touch on your mind, a pressure growing heavier and heavier. If the priests brushed against your consciousness with their words, whatever it is, this thing crying out wordlessly to you. This thing etches words on your very mind itself. You start to feel things you've never felt before. As something forces its way into your brain. You see colours and shapes. See things that you didn't think possible as your mind slowly feels like it begins to crack. You've one last chance to confront whatever it is doing this. You can feel yourself slowly being drawn from you away. You can confront this thing. What are you going to confront it with? fists. You try and towards it, but as you reach out, you realise there's nothing of your body left. You are simply a consciousness left here underneath this giant entity. It's too vast and too far beyond your own understanding. What little you can glimpse of it, the colours, the shapes, the movement of things that you never even comprehended, you feel yourself slowly drifting away, fighting to the last. You feel it almost chuckle. A sense of amusement radiates from it. As if your display of violence and attempts to fight it and the aggression is that amuses it. And finally, it speaks. Engraving the words into your very soul, into your very mind, your very consciousness.
Little thing. You will be saved, little thing. Feed me.
Awful chuckles carry on, pressing onto your mind, crushing you slowly as you're slowly filtered away, drifting off into nothing. But there's nothing left. Not even the smoke. Just darkness. Alright, well, that's the end. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. How was that? Did you enjoy it? Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. And there we go. You enjoy that, everyone? Yeah, I think you reached the bad ending, safe to say. In which you were consumed by the Eternal Saviour. Questions? Oh. I mean, well, the situation you're in, there's the right answer of what sanity is, if that's what you want to know. I mean, you did kind of get attracted enough attention that you kind of were a bit stuck. The right answer, in terms of the sanity, is the smoke. The bread was just bread. I did try and guide you away from the bread multiple times, but you were obsessed with the bread. Yeah. Rough thing of what happened is the homeless guy found an antidote because he used to be involved, kind of, in a lab. Scientist. He injected you with this cure for sanity. Smoke, which is everywhere, obscures that which the saviour wants to be obscured. The bread's just bread, it was just there to keep people alive, so a steady supply of people feed into the saviour. Ah. So, anyway, did you enjoy that? I hope you did. I know it had a bit of a grim ending, but, it is Halloween. I thought that's suitably spooky and creepy. Oh. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, I'll leave you those kind of, that feeling of being consumed by a giant eldritch being. Yeah. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you want to see more of these, please let me know. This was quite experimental, and as you can tell, I didn't quite know what I was doing at various points. I think I made it work. Yeah, so this was just an experiment. I didn't want to invest too hard into this one, because... But I'd want to do it, but I don't want to. But the ones going forward would be more overarching. Instead of one shots, they'd be bigger stories. Hopefully more people kind of guiding it along. But yeah, so if you want to see more of them, please let me know. Yeah, so thanks again for watching. Take care. Normal stream will resume soon. Goodbye. And watch out for saviours. Eldritch ones, at least. Moral of the story is sometimes bread is just bread.